That was when I got the big agent, and I went on an interview with Lucy, and she liked me, I think, because at that time I had dark red hair, and she hired me. It was when all the Paris models had on clothes made out of burlap.
Girl, you don't hear Ethel asking Fred to buy her a new dress.
Oh, look, Lucy, there's one of the models from the show. Oh, yeah. Oh.
Then Lucy just started hiring me every couple of months. Nothing ever big, you know, just walk-on things. Cashier, manager of a department store. And I worked for Ozzie and Harriet. I think Ozzie had a crush on me.
Well, aren't you going to kiss the bride?
He had me doing one scene where I was marrying this guy, and Ozzie kept showing there. He said, no, you've got to kiss her this way, you know, and then he would show the guy. And I thought, you know, I'm not sure about this.
Well, then go ahead and kiss her.
Well, Lucy, come on.
Just a second, dear.
My agent said, there's a really great part for, you know, they want somebody new and sexy. And he said, pad your bra. I said, okay, all right. I was answering questions and trying to be charming and sexy and all that. We walked out, and he said, kid, you got the part. I said, really? I said, fantastic. And I waited like about 5 days, and I called him, and I said, I haven't heard from him, no wardrobe call or anything. And he called me back, and he said, they gave the part to another girl. I said, I thought you said I had it. He said, well, they did, but they gave it to a girl named Marilyn Monroe. I said, son of a gun, do you know her? He said, no, I don't.
Haven't you bothered me enough, you big banana head?
It was for Asphalt Jungle, wasn't
Asphalt Jungle, yeah.
Sterling Marilyn Monroe as Angela, the easy-living, green-eyed blonde.
All the people, when I was really little, they were actors and they were models and they just were artistic people. I just didn't know that everyone wasn't beautiful because these people were all beautiful. There were about 25 of them. There was like peripheral people like Bob Mitchum, who was part of the crowd, and Stu Whitman. The first gay man I ever met came over one day to do my mom and Colleen's hair. They were so fabulous.
Her hanging out with Lenny Bruce or like Noah Dietrich, all those really cool kind of leftist, fringe, like hipster characters.
They all smoked pot, and they hid it.
Which nobody did in those days. Well, this is the 50s.
So we had like an old bird's nest up in a tree outside our back door, and
that's
they
where
would
they
hide
kept
their
it?
pot in the bird's
I
nest.
didn't know that.
Mother,
Mom,
come
you just
on, let's not go there.
No,
Mom.
I didn't know about the bird's nest.
Mom was really square about that kind of stuff.
Was I ever?
You know, she was hanging out with all those people, but she's always been pretty straight. I mean, for a
Thank you for that.
For a wild woman, she's really straight.
Only because I got married so many times. That's the only wildness.
Yeah, that's the only wild thing she ever did.
Marriage number 3 was John Southall, and I fell in love with him on sight. That had never happened to me before, ever. Sometime later, we got married, and I had Georgianne.
He was just wonderful and unbelievably handsome and looked more like me. He was really dark. He had dark skin and dark hair.
When we speak about our dad, even though John Southall was only my biological dad, my sister, when she says my dad, our dad, she's talking about him.
I remember when my sister was born, it was like everybody in the whole family forgot that I was alive. Oh, look at Georgianne, isn't she adorable, blah, blah, blah. And I'm thinking, well, what? Hello?
My mom tells me this story that Dad would come in and he would take Cheryl and he'd say, all that baby does is cry. You and I, let's go do something fun.
So he was a balance.
He was a lovely man, super sweet, except when he drank.
He had a drinking problem, and when he was drinking, he wasn't that much fun.
Mom was just not going to be the little woman in the kitchen who was unhappy in an unhappy marriage. She was like, no, fine, this doesn't work, okay, get out of here. I'll keep my girls and I'll just do this myself. At a time when it was really hard to just do it yourself.
Because I was so miserable in the marriage, I thought, you know, anything is better than this. I'd rather be out there being poor again and making it on my own and having some say-so about my life and my kids.
I didn't realize that we didn't have money because for our birthdays, Mom would always tie balloons, put them in the apricot tree, and tie lollipops and hang them from it. It was just so sweet. And then we'd have this big birthday party, and it didn't seem like we were poor.
She was living in this place with no furniture, and so we were staying at my grandmother's. And my sister was completely content being there, and I just wasn't. And so finally one night I said, I don't want to stay here any longer. And she just had a mattress, not a box springs, just a mattress. And I said, I don't care if I have to sleep on the floor. But I mean, you know, my mother was supporting us on her own. When someone says, oh, you know, your mom was married that many times, and there was always the three of us, but there were really never men in the house. It was like a tribe of women.
There were no social programs for single moms. There was nothing to fall back on. It wasn't really done in the 50s. Mom was kind of a pioneer, and women tended to stay married in those days because you had no social standing.
Gilbert Lapierre was a Wall Street banker, but he kept calling me from New York City. And he said, you know, would I come to New York and marry him? And I thought about it and I thought about it. I had the kids and I was still raising them. So that's what we did.
He was very father knows best, but it was not a good fit for the family.
Mom wasn't in love with Gilbert, but he was really good to us girls. And I think that was, she really wanted more than anything security for us. He adopted both of us, so it was CHER and Georgianne Lapierre. And that was my name I used for my whole life and my professional career as an actress and everything. The very first show I started out on was doing a show called Ozzy's Girls with Mark Harmon.
What are you doing around here? Snooping around for campaign secrets?
No, honestly, I came to apologize.
She was on General Hospital.
Chances, Mother. And when you do, you can forget that you ever had a daughter, because I will never see you or speak to you again as long as I live.
I was the mean girl. You can really sink your teeth into it, and it's really great. I was on every old kind of, God bless him, cheesy show. I was on T.J. Hooker. I was on Policewoman with Angie Dickinson. All that stuff from that time.
I'm gonna learn fast.
When didn't you?